What is up, everyone? I'm Skratch. Welcome to the channel and welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, today we're gonna talk about Titus. The honeymoon period with the test servers and 6-star blessings and the craziest relics and gemstones is over. We're gonna talk about how to build him. We're gonna talk about my team that I'm going to use in the Hydra clan boss. That's mainly where I'm going to use this champion. I'm not going to personally use him in the Chimera. Even though he deals crazy damage, the main thing is that I won't really have... I won't really be able to complete a lot of trials, okay? He is an amazing champion. The main thing that you want to skill up on him is basically the second skill. The third and first skill are honestly pretty irrelevant. This is all that matters on him. Now we're going to talk about the builds as well. Personally, I do not want to have him fast. As I've told you on the very first guide I've done on him, if you have him too fast, you're just basically taking too many turns in the Hydra. Now, some of the other champions are pretty fast, but we're going to discuss about that too. I have mine built in Merciless, and I have him built with some different pieces of gear that will allow me to get the right stats. One of the main things that's really important to get on him is high resistance. So, as you guys can probably notice, his total stats are really not impressive, but I'm going to explain in a second why. One, I do not have only a 1-star blessing, so his crit damage is pretty low at the moment, unfortunately. But that is mainly because I need to basically re-roll the Ascension on every single piece of gear that I have on him. Like, literally every single piece of gear. His defense is low. I've been so unlucky with the rolls on the Ascension that is just crazy that I need to basically do every single one of them. I do not have a very good banner, unfortunately. No defense percentage on that. Now, for a relic, I'm using on mine the Cat's Gaze, okay? That will allow me to ignore more defense, putting me up to like fully ignoring the defense on the Hydra clan boss more or less, because I already have my Great Hall Max in there. I have the Merciless set. I have Helm Smasher. More or less is gonna be there, right? Now, there is one thing that you could do. You can run a Blood Shield accessory on him, and that will be really helpful. The thing with Blood Shield accessories gives wearer shield worth of 5% of the damage dealt after attacking, okay? So that means that when he's going to get to a point where he deals 10, 20, 30 million damage per hit, he's gonna get 5% of that damage. So the shield is actually going to constantly increase when he's using this. That's the way the Blood Shield accessories actually scale, and that's how they've always been working, which is pretty good. Now, if you have room to basically bring in 3 Blood Shield accessories, you have them available, you're going to stack that and you're gonna get 15% shield from the damage, which is much better. But unfortunately for me, at least, I am not able to actually fit in a piece, not at the moment. If I would do that, I would drop a lot of resistance. And the thing is, even if you have 500 resistance on the Hydra, it's more than that 3% chance, okay? So the boss can actually steal your buffs. So we want to avoid that at pretty much all cost. Now, as I've mentioned, the best relic for him will be the Cat's Gaze. You could potentially run different ones. Anything that will allow you to get more damage from whatever you might have available on your account. It really depends what you have available. Gemstones, of course, the best gemstone to have on will be Boss Slayer. I do not have one, and probably 99.99% of you guys do not have one either, right? But that was one of the main things that was pushing his damage even crazier in the Hydra clan boss, especially on the test server. Some people were running 2 Boss Slayer gemstones on the relics, which was instantly 20% more damage. Now I'm running this. This will allow me to ignore more defense when we have debuffs, and the bosses will deal 5% less damage versus the champion. So basically, they're not going to touch his shield at the beginning, but that is honestly pretty irrelevant. I do not really have anything that will allow me to get more damage. So this does not count in the Hydra because we're not killing an enemy, which is unfortunate. Basically, anything that would be a positive boost for us in terms of damage does not count in the Chimera, in the Hydra, because we are not killing the heads. But everything that should be positive, like ally attacks and all that, counts as a kill. So whatever. changes in the Hydra, Plarium knows their things very, very well. Then, talking about blessings. Up to 5-star, Haven Cast is the best one. You will have a lot of buffs in your team. Once you reach that 6-star, of course, Crushing Rant is going to be freaking OP on the champion. I wish I would have one, but I don't. Masteries. We have offense and defense. So basically, I tried to get a bit of more defense on the champion, and we're gonna get deterrence. He will get to counterattack every now and then when somebody will apply a crowd control debuff on him. Cycle of Violence is going to be massive because we're gonna deal crazy damage, so that will decrease the cooldown of his A2 skill. With the set that we have on, we have a pretty high chance to use the A2 very often. So, let's quickly talk about the team that I'm running. Let's quickly talk about how to run the team. So, I'll be running a team on Nightmare Hydra. I've built my team in such a way to don't have to break the team that I'm running on Brutal with Trunda. This is the team that I'm running. So, Krisk is pretty helpful in here because he extends the duration of buffs and he brings the shield, which will allow me to have a shield set on him with the passive 2 shields directly. Now, that is the easy way. This is the cheat mode, okay? If you do not have Krisk, you can remove Krisk out, put a Blood Shield accessory on Titus, and put a shield set on whatever champion that extends the duration of buffs instead of Krisk. Truth be told, you do not really need another buff extension champion if you're using the Mad Hatter in here, because he will already provide you with everything that you need. He will basically increase the duration of buffs, decrease the duration of debuffs, give you some turn meter, give you the hacks and the weaken. So him and Wixwell, they will be able to extend the duration of buffs enough that you don't really need to have a third champion to do so. So instead, you could potentially bring in a different champion that can reset. I chose to run a Kymar in here because my Yumeko is already used in the other team and I do not have double Yumeko, so it's pretty pointless. I did try to make this team as auto-friendly as possible. The main thing is you're not going to run a quick battle with it. The main thing that you want to prioritize is basically having the run going while you're selecting different heads, because the AI is extremely bad and Titus will target heads that have the Serpent buff, which will not really allow you to do maximum damage. Now, this team is a complete RNG fiasco. You want to make sure you have a champion with higher crit damage than Titus. In my case, it's going to be Kymar with 296, while we have Titus with 286. Basically, the Hydra will devour first the champion with the highest crit damage. So if you go in the run and Titus is going to get devoured early on, you're going to have to back out and retry. So because I do want to run it on auto and just select heads rather than selecting all of the skill sets, I do have a preset. On Wixwell, I am prioritizing him to use this skill. So we're increasing the shield, then we're going to put some more buffs. That's just to ensure that the bosses won't actually break any of the shields on us. With Krisk, I'm actually going to stop this skill. I do not need a provoke because I have Wixwell and I have Titus that provoke. So with Krisk, I'm just going to prioritize this, literally, nothing else. But at the beginning, I'll let him open with that skill first, so we get a buff as well, and then we provoke the head because the other champions might be doing some other funky things. Titus doesn't really have enough accuracy, but he doesn't need it because he's going to be under shield. So in case if he doesn't provoke, we have 2 provokes in the first cycle right there. Feral basically will prioritize the skill right here because once he's putting these buffs up once, we're constantly going to extend their duration, so that won't be as important. Titus only using the A2 and A1. Mad Hatter will prioritize this skill and then he will open with this one to basically extend the duration of buff straight off the back. Prince Kymar is going to use this as often as possible. Now, I will show you the builds in a second. Basically, let me show you how this run goes. And I might not keep you in here through for the entire duration of the video. I might actually do a quick run with it to show you how it works. But basically, that's how the team will work. Now, some of the speeds are a bit high. Some of them, yeah, they're a bit too high, most likely, because we're taking too many turns. And that's definitely something that we don't want to do in the Hydra. Now, you see, Kymar is going to be the champion that is getting devoured first. You can see the devouring mark on him. If Titus is next, is an instantly retry, and that's with every single team that has Titus in here. Personally, I got lucky enough to have a Magma Shield Relic, which I actually equipped on my Feral, and like this, I'm going to have 3 stacks of shields, which will allow him to actually deal more damage. But without having the 6-star blessing on him, without having crazy gemstones, and all the good stuff, he's not going to do the craziest damage, okay? But it's still a work in process. Once I'm gonna get some more oils, or not oils, more dust to actually re-roll the Ascension of the Gear, that's going to be much, much better. So the hacks is one of the most important things in this fight, guys, okay? Now, my Feral is in 9-piece protection, which will boost a bit of damage. One thing that I kind of like should have done is probably put Wixwell in protection as well instead of the sets that I have on him. I think I have him on Merciless and Reflex. If I was putting him on 9-piece protection, that would boost the damage a bit more. You see, so we got 14 million hit right there, but we had no hacks on most of the heads. So from here on, you want to make sure you are targeting heads that are basically without the hacks. If you have hacks on others, so that will allow you to basically push more damage. And you want to make sure you are, once again, targeting heads that do not have the Serpent buff, because that Serpent buff is going to be extremely, extremely annoying. So right now, I'm actually going to go and target this head right here with him. He only used the A1, not the A2, unfortunately, which is fine. Hopefully, they'll stay put, most of the heads. You see, they have the Serpent buff. That, unfortunately, won't allow us to do too much damage, but still we have one of them that's knocked out. You always want to hit the heads that are knocked out because the damage is going much, much crazier. So we just got an 80 million hit right there. So overall, it does pretty damn well. It doesn't perform bad whatsoever. I'm going to target the other head, A2, 76 million, and we had the hacks on the other one, so it instantly killed him. But unfortunately, the ones with the Serpent buff, they do not get any damage. Now I'm going to target the one that's basically with nothing on. So 39 million. We had no weaken or anything on there. And 3 of them have the Serpent buff. Once again, I will keep my priority on that head to make sure if by any chance he's going to have the A2 available, at least we're going to do some damage, right? There we go. We have hacks right now. So I'm actually going to target the other head. This one right here, the Head of Suffering, because the Head of Decay, because the rest seem to have hacks, and the Head of Decay doesn't have hacks. So that's actually going to be really, really important. Okay, so as long as they are not stealing our freaking shield from him, we're good. But as you guys can probably notice, I have 1 extra buff on Wixwell, right? Which will force the Head of Mischief to prioritize him or Krisk. There we go. Beautiful. Instantly took him out. The hack spread, dealt some more damage. So now the next champion that's getting devoured is Feral. Perfect. Hopefully the next one, once again, is not going to be Titus because we don't want to restart the run. Okay, very, very important. But from here on, the run should be pretty damn smooth. So that head still doesn't have hacks. Now we do have hacks on him, so I'm going to prioritize the dead head because we're going to deal more damage. So 39 million damage wasn't too crazy, but hey, at least we managed to do a good chunk of damage. So we're looking kind of like 10 million damage per boss turn count, at least for the moment. And it's fine. Once you're going to get crazy blessings and everything else on him, his damage is going to scale because he's not working in the same way like Corpulent Cadaver, guys. Corpulent Cadaver was literally just doing damage based on the shield. So now, I was going to say, I'm going to target this head. I was too slow because I was talking with you. You saw he prioritized the Head of Decay because he provokes that one. But he had the Serpent buff, so we dealt 0 damage when we could have dealt probably 150 plus million damage. So that was a big rip. I just clicked too slow. He was already on his way to go to the boss. So that actually holds us down a little bit. Now, I'm not expecting to do 20 plus billion damage with this team. As I've mentioned, the lack of blessing and crazy gemstones on him will not allow us to do that crazy damage. But still, he will get to do a pretty good amount of damage anyway, which is definitely a good thing. That shield should most likely be at close to maximum level now. Like, we've increased the shield with Wixwell so freaking much that I don't think is gonna grow anymore. 80 million damage right there. Beautiful. We took everybody down. So that's how this team will work. Now, we can talk about replacements. We can talk about what you should use in the team. So Feral is a pretty important champion in here, mainly because he brings block buffs and he brings me the Veil. The Veil is extremely, extremely important, guys, because without the Veil, you're not going to be able to deal with the Head of Torment, and that's going to be a problem. If you have Glaciad, you can definitely replace Glaciad. You can replace Feral with Glaciad, but then I would probably look at a way to bring in a block buff champion. Lamassu works absolutely amazing too. So if you have Lamassu available, you can run her too, but that is going to be a full manual team because you need to select what skills you're going to use on what champions, when you're going to decrease the cooldowns of skills, etc. So that's going to be really, really important. It seems like we did not manage to provoke that head somehow. I'm still not sure how, but either way, probably we did not have the skill available. As long as we're bringing the hacks back, we shouldn't worry. So we have the block buffs. Everybody has the block buffs, more or less, except the head of Blight, which could probably cause us some issues. And you see, that's where the RNG starts. He's the next champion to get devoured. So I won't make it to the end with him because he's getting devoured now. So there's so much freaking RNG with this team that it will become pretty damn frustrating to run this team. Especially if you have bad RNG, man. Like, if this is probably the 5th run that I'm trying with him, and every time he got devoured at around this part. So he's usually the 3rd champion to get devoured. There is no secret to it. It's just literally RNG, right? Which kind of sucks, but hey. That's basically how the team runs, guys. I'm gonna back out. You've seen the damage. He gets to like 100 million per hit, more or less. I feel like that's kind of like his cap at the moment. If I would bring in a defense down champion, I could potentially maybe squeeze a little bit of more damage, but I'm gonna have to basically give it a go. So I might have to drop one of the champions and see how that plays out. But either way, 500 million damage in 8 minutes. I think that's pretty decent. So I'm going to regroup, and I'm gonna try to give it a quick battle. I'm only gonna try one though. Hopefully the RNG is not bad, and he's not gonna get devoured. He got devoured. He got devoured. There's no way. You've seen we ended it too early as well, and we dropped. I think he got devoured pretty damn fast because look, 1.2 billion damage only. But I reckon this team will get close to like 2+ billion damage as it is, because as I've mentioned, the blessing, etc., makes a massive difference. So I decided to do a full run, guys. I did have bad RNG because at around turn 120 or 130, he got devoured. I let the run go, so we got 2.4 billion. He dealt almost 2 billion damage. I think if we wouldn't have had a bad RNG, this was easily going to be over a 4 billion damage, which is pretty decent considering that we don't have a 6-star blessing and all the funky things, but overall it's good. I think the team is so much freaking RNG because I've closed the recording of the video, right? And I think I've done 7 more tries on top of the video, and yeah, it's a lot of RNG with this team, but I'm gonna save it. It is what it is. 2 billion damage from Titus is still pretty good. You've seen the build is not that crazy. Let me just quickly show you the builds that I have on the champions. So Wixwell, I know in the past people asked me, Skratch, is anything to do with 2 Wixwells? There's definitely now something to do with them, because one is in my Tranda team, one is in my Titus team. So this is the one that I'm running in the Titus team, okay? These are his total stats: 284 speed, 408 resistance, 327 accuracy, a bit of HP and defense. No, I mean, I have the Molten Dead Bell, but no Blessing. And War Master as tier 6 for masteries. Then if we're running Krisk, so I have one of the Krisks in shield sets. So like that, I'm going to get to double dip on the shield, basically. So these are the stats on Krisk. I'm not going to read them because you guys can see them on the screen, but resistance on him too, pretty important. I have no Relic. I have a Lightning Cage on him as a Blessing, and War Master on tier 6. Almost the same masteries like Wixwell. Then we're running Mad Hatter. So Mad Hatter is on a Reflex and Impulse. I need to change the Reflex on him. I actually haven't changed the build. And the total stat, 70k HP, 288 speed, too much accuracy. I don't need to get so much accuracy. So I could potentially squeeze more damage out of the champion instead. No Relic. I have Cruelty as a Blessing and no masteries yet. Okay. And then moving on to Feral. Where are you? 9-piece protection. These are the total stats. Resistance, accuracy, to make sure nobody really gets debuffed and stuff like that. Then I have the Volcardiac Heart on him, which is really, really good because 3 shields, they stack, so that's a bit of more damage. I have Cruelty on the Blessing, and I have War Master offense support as masteries. Then we had one more champion, right? Or we did not. Kymar. Kymar was the last, right? So this Kymar, basically Reflex, Impulse, Refresh accessory, so he can reset the skills as often as possible. Now, I do have a bit of accuracy on him, and the main reason why I haven't stopped his second skill is I want him to strip the buffs from the Hydra if by any chance they get to buff. Like, if they're gonna put, for example, reflect damage, I want to get rid of that ASAP, right? Because that's going to be nasty. I do not want to get that reflective damage back onto my Titus. So these are his total stats. Basically, the highest crit damage to ensure that Titus doesn't get devoured first. I have a Molten Dead Bell on him just to get a bit of extra accuracy. No Blessing, and masteries, offense and support. War Master as tier 6. And Titus, you've seen him already, but just in case if you want to see him again, these are his total stats. So I need to fix the Ascension. I need to get like preferably 1.5k more defense at least on him. Get more crit damage. Then I'm going to have to rebuild Kymar after that too. The resistance is very, very important on the champion though. So I'm looking forward to get a 2-star Blessing on him. Cat's Gaze, Haven Cast, and we have offense, defense, Helm Smasher as tier 6. But that's pretty much it for this, guys. As I've mentioned, you want to have Titus build slow. You don't want to have him at 250, 260, 270 speed. You can run teams like that if you want to. It's up to you guys. They are teams with double Yumeko. It's the same thing like Tranda. Like, literally, there is absolutely no difference. You take Tranda out, you put Titus in, you put Wixwell. GG's, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, and it's the exact same cup of tea. No new strategy with him or anything like that at all, actually. But if you have 2 Yumekos or Yumeko Lamasu and your manual, you can do pretty much the same thing like double Yumeko, right? The thing is, I'm running my Yumeko on the Tranda team, so that's pretty important to stay as it is. I'll see if in the future I'll swap them around, maybe put Kymar instead of Yumeko in that team, and let them have fun like that, right? But either way, that was everything for this video. As usual, appreciate all of you guys watching. Much love, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.